Welcome, everyone. Today, you will read a powerful and meaningful story about growth, patience, and believing in yourself even when life feels difficult. This story will help you improve your English while also teaching an important life lesson. Sometimes people think they cannot change, improve, or become better because they have failed too many times. But real growth does not happen in one day. It happens slowly, through small efforts, painful experiences, silent struggles, and the courage to continue when nobody notices your hard work. In this story, you will learn that success is not only for talented people. Success belongs to those who keep growing, learning, and moving forward even during hard times. The lesson from this story is simple but powerful. Never stop believing in your growth, because the person you are today is not the person you can become tomorrow. There was once a person who lived a very ordinary life in a crowded town filled with noise, busy streets, and endless competition. Every morning looked the same. The same alarm rang early, the same tired face looked into the mirror, and the same heavy thoughts filled the mind before the day even started. While other people seemed confident and successful, this person always felt behind in life. Watching others achieve their dreams created a painful feeling inside. Some people spoke English fluently, some had successful careers, some looked fearless while speaking in public, and some seemed naturally talented in everything they did. Slowly, a dangerous belief started growing inside the heart. Maybe I am not good enough. Maybe some people are born for success, and some people are not. This belief became stronger after every mistake. Whenever something went wrong, the mind repeated the same negative words. During conversations, fear appeared. During learning, confusion appeared. During challenges, weakness appeared. The person wanted to improve, but always stopped halfway because of self-doubt. Many books were started but never finished. Many goals were created but forgotten after a few days. Sometimes motivation came for one night, but by morning, old habits returned again. Life slowly became a cycle of starting and quitting. Deep inside, there was a silent pain because the person knew that life could become better, but there was no confidence left to continue trying. One evening, after another disappointing day, the person walked slowly through an old street near the edge of town. The sky was cloudy, the wind was cold, and everything felt heavy. While walking without purpose, the eyes noticed a small plant growing through a crack in the concrete road. It was tiny, weak-looking, and surrounded by hard stone. Cars passed over it every day, dust covered it, and strong heat burned it during afternoons. Yet somehow, it was still alive. It was still growing. The person stood there quietly, staring at that small plant for several minutes. Something about it felt meaningful. That plant had no perfect environment, no protection, and no easy path, but it still continued to grow little by little. That night, the image of the plant stayed in the mind. For the first time in many months, a different thought appeared. Maybe growth is not about being perfect. Maybe growth is simply about continuing. Those words sounded simple, but they created a deep feeling inside. The next morning, instead of creating huge goals, the person decided to focus on one small improvement. Only one page of reading. Only 10 new English words. Only 15 minutes of practice. Nothing big. Nothing impossible. At first, it felt useless because the progress was very small. But unlike before, the person did not stop after one day. Days slowly turned into weeks. The improvements were still small, but something important started changing inside. The mind became calmer. Fear became weaker. Confidence did not suddenly appear like magic, but the person slowly started trusting the process. There were still bad days, still mistakes, and still moments of frustration, but quitting no longer felt like the only option. Whenever negative thoughts returned, the person remembered the small plant growing through concrete. Growth was not fast, but it was real. One day, while practicing English in a small public class, the teacher asked everyone to speak for 2 minutes about their dreams. Immediately, nervousness filled the room. Many students looked down because they were afraid of making mistakes. The person also felt fear rising inside. The hands became cold, and the heartbeat became faster. In the past, this fear would have been enough to stay silent. But this time was different. Slowly standing up, the person began speaking in broken English. Some sentences were incorrect. Some words were forgotten. The voice shook several times. A few students smiled quietly. But despite all the mistakes, the person continued speaking until the 2 minutes ended. Something unexpected happened after sitting down. Instead of feeling shame, there was a strange feeling of pride. It was not pride because the speech was perfect. It was pride because fear did not win this time. That small moment became an important turning point. The person finally understood that growth is not about avoiding mistakes. Growth happens when you move forward despite mistakes. After that day, the person started practicing more seriously. Every morning became a chance to improve instead of another burden to survive. English listening practice became part of daily life. Reading became easier. Speaking slowly improved. Confidence started showing not only in language learning but also in other areas of life. The person began talking to new people, sharing opinions more openly, and trying opportunities that once felt impossible. However, growth was still not easy. There were days when motivation disappeared completely. Sometimes progress felt invisible. Sometimes others moved ahead faster, creating comparison and frustration again. One particularly difficult week brought many failures at once. An important interview went badly. A public speaking attempt became embarrassing. Several people criticized the mistakes openly. That old voice inside returned strongly, saying, "You are wasting your time. You will never become good enough." For 2 days, the person stopped practicing completely. The book stayed closed. The goals felt meaningless again. But on the third evening, while sitting alone near a window during heavy rain, another realization appeared. The person remembered how many times growth had already happened before. There was a time when speaking even one English sentence felt impossible. There was a time when fear controlled every decision. But now things were different. The improvement was real, even if perfection was still far away. That night, the person understood something powerful. Growth is not a straight line. Some days you move forward, some days you struggle, some days you fail badly. But every experience teaches something important if you continue learning. People who succeed are not always the smartest or most talented. Often, they are simply the people who continue growing after disappointment. Months passed, and life slowly transformed. The person who once avoided conversations was now helping others practice English. The person who once feared mistakes was now encouraging beginners not to feel ashamed. Many people started asking, "How did you become so confident?" The answer was always simple. Confidence did not appear first. Action came first. Growth came from continuing even during fear, doubt, and failure. One afternoon, while walking through the same old street from months earlier, the person saw the small plant again. But now it was no longer tiny. It had grown larger, greener, and stronger. Its roots had pushed deeper through the concrete. Looking at it created an emotional smile. The plant had become a symbol of life itself. Real growth is quiet. It happens slowly where nobody notices. It survives storms, pressure, heat, criticism, and pain. Yet it continues rising little by little. The person finally realized that human potential works the same way. Nobody becomes strong overnight. Nobody becomes confident without fear. Nobody becomes successful without struggle. Growth requires patience. It requires belief during moments when results cannot yet be seen. Most people quit too early because they expect fast success. But life rewards those who continue learning, improving, and believing in themselves during difficult seasons. So, if you ever feel behind in life, remember this story. Remember that growth is often invisible in the beginning. A tree does not appear the day after a seed is planted. It grows slowly underground before anyone can see it. In the same way, your efforts are shaping your future even when progress feels small. Keep learning. Keep practicing. Keep moving forward. One day you will look back and realize that every small step changed your life. The lesson from this story is clear. Always believe in growth. You may not become better in one day, but if you continue improving little by little, your future can become completely different from your present. Never underestimate small progress, because small progress repeated every day creates extraordinary change over time.